Hi, I'm Jim Meyer. I'm a retired ELCA Lutheran pastor in the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. And in my collection in times long ago, I'd like to share another story with you. It's entitled My Wedding Day by James P. Meyer. And this is Margaret's story. I was a young 25-year-old lady when I got married. Our wedding day took place on a lovely day on September 12, 1921, at the Lutheran Church in Tripp, South Dakota. Before our marriage, my husband Dan and I had known each other for some time. When he finally popped the question asking me to marry him, I was very happy and said yes right away. We decided to get married in September, before harvest time. This would also give me time for the wedding preparations. My wedding dress was a lovely, soft white gown, long enough so only the toes of my slippers showed. The floor-length veil of white lace also accented the dress. A seamstress helped me pick the materials, and she sewed it together. The day of our wedding is most memorable to me. It was on a Sunday morning, right after the worship service. The whole congregation attended the ceremony. It was so lovely. Afterwards, we went to my parents' home to have dinner with relatives and friends, and that day with Dan made me so happy. He beamed most of the day too. The next morning, Dan and I traveled to Mitchell, South Dakota for our honeymoon. We went by train, which was a treat. The trains were still pretty new to these parts at that time, years ago. We spent several days in the big city of Mitchell, sightseeing, eating in restaurants, and shopping. Before we knew it, though, it was time to go home, so we went to live on our own farm near Tripp, where many wonderful years were spent on that farm. The end. I wonder as we look back how idyllic our past events look after time. I wonder how their love grew and at what dimensions it grew too as time passed before Daniel popped the question. I wonder how God works in us the ambassadorship of His love in marriage. I wonder how it was for the first time to bring in their own harvest after working together on their own farm. And family room reflections. Have you not read that the one who made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, "For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate." From the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 19, verse 4 through 7. From now on, therefore, we regard no one from a human point of view. Even though we once knew Christ from a human point of view, we no longer know Him in that way. So if anyone is in Christ, there is a new creation. Everything old has passed away. See, everything has become new. All this is from God, who reconciled us to Himself through Christ, and has given us the ministry of reconciliation. That is, in Christ, God was reconciling the world to Himself, not counting their trespasses against them, and entrusting the message of reconciliation to us. So we are ambassadors for Christ. Since God is making His appeal through us, we entreat you on behalf of Christ, be reconciled to God. For our sake, He made Him to be sin, who knew no sin, so that in Him we might become the righteousness of God. Corinthians chapter 5, verses 16 through 21. And now our recollections. How is it the two in marriage become one? It is the mingling of their spirits that make the two become one flesh. For in their bonding of love comes one flesh. It has always been that Jesus would have us be one with him and with the Father. When we are reconciled with God, we are in one accord, and the greater will moves us, bringing our spirits in balance with the Lord. And it brings our bodies in accord and balance. When God joins one to another in marriage, it teaches us of this reconciliation in body, mind, and spirit. And we find we must work hard in marriage. And like all things worked for, we find a fine-tuned love that protects from all evil. We truly are the ambassadors of God's love in marriage and in friendships that truly fulfills one another in God's love and grace. It is good to observe Valentine's Day, a day of professing our love one to another, especially for whom God has brought together. God is love, and you are one in him as you are in each other. If you've enjoyed these stories and the others, go ahead and subscribe. It's free. It just enables you to get to my page faster and quicker. Thank you.